Welcome to the Digital Journey Podcast. Every successful online business entrepreneur has an incredible story to share about their journey to success. Listen and learn from top digital mavericks and online business insiders as they share their secrets so you can live the lifestyle you deserve. Your pilots for today's journey, Rob Fortney and Nick Nimmin. Welcome aboard, passengers. The digital journey begins now.
Welcome to the Digital Journey Podcast, navigating you through your online business voyage. I'm Rob Fortney from the Amazon Gorillas and my sexy, good-looking partner today, Nick Nimmin. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, Rob. Thank you. And I think that's the second time that you've called me sexy. I'm starting to get uncomfortable.
That's going to be your new name, The Big Bald Sexy. Hey, if this is your first time listening, thanks to coming. And if you're returning, nice to see you again. The Digital Journey Podcast is produced every single week for your inspiration and enjoyment.
Feel free to add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed so you don't miss any information nuggets that may be a game changer for you and your digital business. And if you want to see the video version of the podcast, go to our website, digitaljourneypodcast.com. Our guest for today's show today is Kurt Phillip. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. It's beautiful outside, so how could you not be happy?
It is spectacular.
It is
outside.
amazing out there today.
Kurt, you come from New Zealand, and you work in conversion rate optimization, which basically allows people to take the traffic they already have and turn it into more money, which is super important.
True.
So, and what that ultimately does for you as well is it creates more money when you sell your business.
Before we get into the show today, I want to let you know that the Digital Journey Podcast is brought to you by our friends at EmpireFlippers.com. Empire Flippers is the #1 curated marketplace for buying and selling established, profitable online businesses. Visit their website at EmpireFlippers.com and see what businesses are for sale. And if you already own a business, there's also a great place on their website where you can get your business evaluated and see how much it's worth. Let's get this journey started.
All right, now welcome, Kurt. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with us today.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Well, we're glad to hear. We're excited to figure out how to make more money from what we're already doing.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Isn't it crazy that you can take the same traffic that you already get to your website? So there's people showing up, they're wanting to buy things, they're not buying them because you're missing a couple of important, super secret things that you might even reveal some of those to us today.
I will.
Wow, everybody, look at that.
All right, there we go.
Hey, after a week at the SEO conference, boy, I'm going to be ranking me as the best looking guy in Chiang Mai. I think it's my new one.
I'm already there, man.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't think about that. There's probably nothing left in Chiang Mai that I could rank for of any value for the ladies. But
there was a bit of back and forth with the boys of what we've all ranked each other for too. So we were going through that over the weekend.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Some pretty bad keywords that one of them happened to show my girlfriend, and she wasn't too happy. So.
Oh no!
Uh-oh. Yeah, we won't walk down that path.
Yeah, you can imagine the jokes the SEO guys playing each other.
Right.
That's hilarious. Like, I'm ranking your girlfriend the ugliest girl in Asia. Oh, great, thanks.
Or the opposite, like Matt did. Yeah.
That's right. The best looking hot girl.
The hottest chick in Chiang Mai. If you type that in, you'll get the answer for that one.
There you go.
Nice.
So what we usually start with is what's the backstory? Like, how did you get here? What do you do? And what kind of businesses were you in prior to getting here?
Yeah. So I've been in this game a long time. Like this scene's really started to pop up in the last 3 to 4 years, mainly. As you can see in Chiang Mai, this whole community's just blown out of control. But I got into this when I was about 23, 24, and it was about 2007, 2008. And Wi-Fi was just becoming mainstream, so I just negotiated a remote work agreement. Before I'd read the 4-Hour Workweek, didn't even know what that was, but I just somehow negotiated a remote work agreement, and I was traveling around Europe for the first time with my old white MacBook, and I was building websites, and I was starting to notice Wi-Fi was starting to become more mainstream. And so anyway, fast forward 3 or 4 years, I've been in the game, and I read the 4-Hour Workweek and a couple of the other popular books. And then I'd scaled my SEO business. I was doing a consulting SEO business for a few years, just working a few hours a day, traveling the world. I was doing pub crawls in Budapest for a year, and that was just crazy. But like that allowed me to, work during the day with a hangover, but work during the day and then party at night and meet cool people from all around the world. Now I have all these friends from around the world, and a lot of business partners now. So it really worked out. And then came out to Chiang Mai in about 2011. There was about 5 or 6 or maybe 8 of us here that were working online, and we had this core little group. And everyone from that group now is just absolutely killing it. So I got into affiliate SEO, met Matt around that same time that we had that core group, Matt Diggity. And then, it all went from there. Partnered with Matt Diggity on a few things, partnered with a couple other guys, and shit just really took off. So I really noticed I met Justin and Joe back in 2012 or maybe 2013, 2014 when they were really starting to go mainstream.
And to clarify real quick, you're talking about Justin and Joe from the Empire Flippers.
From Empire Flippers,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
sorry, yeah. And I just noticed this industry was starting to really evolve into something. It's not just geeks making websites anymore. So I had a business partner in Australia that was talking about these ideas for selling websites and using them as an equity class for trading them and getting investors in. And I started to notice this whole industry evolving and no one really servicing it from the end point, the financial side of it. So from there, I got involved in a few other businesses. But since then, like fast forward to 2017, and there's tons of investment firms now using affiliate and lead gen websites and e-commerce and SaaS businesses and FBAs as asset classes. Now, if we look at the return in the market of 2 to 4%, like as a nice return, and then you look at buying an affiliate site with doing absolutely nothing for a 50% return per annum, you don't even question it then. And there's a lot of money rushing into these markets now because of that. And that's just from no extra SEO, no extra CRO, conversion rate optimization, and just the same traffic. So then I noticed I've owned, bought, sold a bunch of sites over the last 5-6 years. And I started to develop these skills in knowing what makes people buy, what makes people click those call to actions to go over to Amazon and so on, where we can get paid these 4, 6, 8% commission rates. And also non-Amazon websites and private affiliate deals where you have more negotiation with the affiliate offers. And then, then CRO guy was born and sort of blew up out of nowhere. And I was the only guy that's serving the whole industry, this whole black hat, grey hat industry.
It's a great place to be.
It really is. And now I've been in the scene. I've had this business for nearly a year now, and it's been really cool to see how it's evolved. And now we've started an agency called Convertica, which is now to serve the larger e-commerce and the 7- and 8-figure e-commerce and lead gen websites and e-commerce affiliate and lead gen. Instead of the CRO guy brand is mainly my face on it to serve the smaller Chiang Mai SEO and black hat, grey hat SEO type of sites. But now we've gone out and started up Convertica, which is now the next stage of CRO guy. It's just growing in leaps and bounds because where literally a site comes in making $1,000 a month, I should say $10,000 a month. We run a bunch of split tests, we optimize the page speed, we make it look good on mobile, we track what the users are doing, and then we just run different tests to see how to get more users over to the affiliate offer so that they can get more sales. And let's say, we increase conversions by 50%, and all of a sudden they're making $15,000 a month. And when that comes to sale time, they're making $200,000, and they were making $200,000 before. I'd say $250,000 before, and now they're making $350,000 up to $400,000.
Nice.
And that's where the power comes in, and that's where our system works really well. But even people who use it as an income, passive income, they're still coming in making $10,000 a month. Now they're making 15 from no extra links, no extra rankings, and it just makes 100%. It's literally the most win-win business I've ever seen. So, and it gives us a lot of flexibility to structure deals around that too. So.
Yeah, I would imagine. And then the money's only going to keep getting better. So when you can you start making deals down the future. Hey, listen, 6 months, we'll take this from this.
And so that's how we do it with the new agency. So
right.
we come in, we have our our initial fee to get everything set up and running, and then we negotiate with the partner because there's no real question if we're increasing from that $10,000 to $15,000 and we're increasing their income by $60,000 a year.
Times 25 or 30x, I think so. That's 100, 200 grand.
Exactly. So then it only makes sense. Will they want to pay us $20,000? Well, it's no real problem, right? And it's all tracked, and it's not like SEO when you come in and do a lead gen website and it's sort of like pay us $1,000 a month and we might be able to get you to number one. It's like there is no question. Then that $1,000 within 6 to 8 weeks is normally how long it takes us to turn around a site. They can see that shit straight away, and usually they want to stay on then after that, and it's all built into our model to do that. So it's a really, really exciting time to be in.
I would imagine that. I mean, that sounds like a pretty exciting thing because that's the issue with 90% of things in the world. It's like, well, we can't show you the prize, but you're showing them the prize and then saying, all you got to do is walk through the store and there's the prize.
That's it. We were offering it at the start where we would just go through and show them what to do. But then people don't do it even if they're showing it. So then we just went, you know what, let's just get a full team deployed of developers, coders, report is everything, and we'll just do it from end to end. People get a nice report at the end showing, exactly what areas of their website are creating what sales from where and what, and then we double down on what's making the most sales and just heap optimization through it all. And then they give us the logins, we run the whole process, we email them that they're making more money, and that's how it works, So it's really crazy that this industry hasn't been served yet. There are some bigger enterprise level companies working with really, really big companies, 10 and 20K a month style, but there was no one really serving this part of the industry. And that's just because I've had a lot of experience in this industry and seen how it's evolved, that it's allowed me to come in. It's not just like I've come in and just set it up, not knowing what I'm doing. I've done it with my own sites. Therefore, it's not just theory that I've learned some course. I've actually created this off my own knowledge and experience.
So what was your background in before you started?
It's pretty funny, man.
Sound like you were doing what were you doing with pub crawls like that? Like was that? I didn't take that as you were just going out drinking every night, or was that like?
No, that was definitely all it was.
Oh, that's all it was.
He's like, yeah, without question, man. I'm drinking every day.
Like, I was
23, going to the gym every day. Testosterone through the roof. There's only one outlet really at that age, and I was a late bloomer. So, yeah, man, I was literally doing that. But out of high school, I don't know, man. I didn't have any drive to be anything. I didn't go to university. I think I got a C- when I passed high school. I literally did not do well at all. But so I was just a beach bum, and I was just going to the beach every day and hanging out with my buddies, and then I ended up getting a job as a butcher out of high school. So then that sort of brought me into line, taught me some discipline, and taught me a bit of work
Show
ethic.
up on time.
But I had to, because my parents sold the house that I was living in for free, and I had to. Otherwise, I'd have to go move out to the country where there was no girls. At that time, that's all that was really important. So, So yeah, I was a butcher. Had a really bad car accident where I didn't walk for about a year and a half. Probably.
Oh wow!
I was in a coma for a week, and that was the big shift. That was in the final year of the apprenticeship. So that knocked me around a lot, and then put everything in perspective and gave me a bit of time out of the system to have some outward and introspecting on it all. And then took me.
Was it during that time that you were reading the 4-hour work week?
I'd never read a book
like
in my
that?
life at that point.
Okay.
But not
because you're framing that as like a pivotal point.
100%.
What is it that happened during that time that kind of awakened you or opened up your mind to?
Well, I was on life support
things?
for a week, so that really, it's always, it sounds cliche, but it's always near-death experiences that put everything in perspective. I didn't really have any self-awareness at that point. I didn't really have any empathy. I didn't really give a fuck. But that really brought it into perspective, and that was the big shift for sure.
So when you started first in doing SEO, like how did you educate yourself? Did you have some mentors or?
So back when I was like 13, 14, and when I said I was a late bloomer, I don't even think I kissed a girl till I was like 17 or something. I was just on the computer all the time. And it was right when I was the first kid at school to get the internet. I was the first kid at school I was just like in love with computers, man. And then, so this is about 12, 13. I remember making this website. I coded it by hand at 12, 13. There wasn't many resources out there then. But, so I created this website. It was to download Pokemon ROMs. Like the old Pokemon game on Game Boy, people had ripped them and then put them on PC, and you had to run this emulator and then bring it in. And there was this like huge demand for it. I think I might have been looking at the AdWords keyword tool. I can't remember. This is like 1998, 1999 or something. And then so I made it, and I just probably stuffed a few keywords in the title or some shit back when SEO was just, walk in the park. And then my site got like 6,000 visits in a day or something. And I was like, cool. But I was a kid, man. I didn't really understand money or so I didn't see it as a business.
Sure.
But I had experience in it, and sort of, I didn't do anything with it. I ranked a few WWF shit and Wolfpack, WCW crap when that was big, but I didn't really see it as a business. But then after I had my car accident, I didn't do anything with it for 6-7 years, as I was going through high school and being a butcher. But then when I had that outward perspective, and I got a bit of compensation money for the car accident because I didn't walk for a year and a half. My career ended as a butcher. So yeah, they sorted me out with a bit of insurance money. And then I traveled for a bit and met some people on their laptops. This is just before I did negotiate that work agreement. Met a few people on their laptops traveling. I think it was in Japan or maybe it was in Europe. And then the wheel started spinning then. I was like, this SEO thing, and just everything started to come together. But if I didn't have the car accident, I would have just been going to butcher every day, 15 hours a day, getting up at 6 a.m., I wouldn't have had that time to see the world a little bit different, right? So then I noticed people started people started bringing up SEO, and then my business mentor and who was still a client today, 10 years later, was just here for the SEO conference actually. Had some great nights out on the piss. And he was looking for someone. He just went to a conference, and they were saying at the conference that, this is like 2007, yeah. And at the conference, they were saying they were just using SEO now. And, you know, back then everyone was like, you know, so many scammers out there and everything, like, but he was like, I got to find an SEO person. So I just put myself through school after I got back from that Euro trip, after I had that time off. And I put myself into just like a specialized school for web design and graphic design, and just so I could get some formal education in it. And then when I finished that, I did really well, like a student of the year or something like that. And then he referred now my business mentor to it. And then he rang me as soon as I got back from Thailand on a booze trip one time, get a call. And he was like, come in for an interview, went in, and he hired me. So that's how I actually officially got employed with that guy to then travel after that. So that's how it all went down, man. It was a funny series of events with no real structure to it. It was like just shit just lined up all the time. And it's always been like that for me. I just go with the flow and don't really plan anything. And you can ask anyone, I never stick to plans. I'm always like, but I just go with, and that's, I think, been fundamental to my success is I just go wherever like my intuition tells me to go with. Yeah. I'm very structured, I'm very rational, but when something says, you got an opportunity here to go there, I just run full into it, you know, and with no risk. I'm the most risk tolerant person ever, like, because I've fucking died. I don't care if I lose everything tomorrow, so I'll just like go all in. Because
it doesn't matter, because you realize that the stuff and, you know, it's the experience you have and where you're at, and living in that flow kind of life. I think that's a lot of people here live in that, much more open to what happens and what comes up and where you go.
I haven't had insurance for years. I don't really care. I just like, if I break my toe, I'll just go to Chiang Mai Ram, pay a couple of $1,000 baht and be done with it. It's like something you don't have to, really don't care. I smash around on my scooter with no helmet all the time, which is probably stupid, but I'm on not borrowed time, but like, it's like I got a second chance at it, so I'm just gonna have fun with it, and I really don't take anything too seriously or whatever. So, but that's really important with entrepreneurism, right? You got to not think about it, you just have to do it. And I'm not the most diligent person. I'm pretty sloppy when it comes to a lot of business processes, but I just hire people who are good at it, and they fix it all up for me. Like I got an awesome team at the moment. They're all here in Chiang Mai, so it's awesome having everyone in the same spot. But like, I just make shit happen. And like every successful person says, just take action, and that's something I'm very good at. As soon as I have an idea, I'm just like all in on it. Yeah. So
I think that's one of the main things that a lot of entrepreneurs just don't get. It's just, I guess we talk about it all the time, but it's just, you got to do something. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. Like if you want to be an SEO and somehow like you'll fall down this tumble of things you don't know, but it's just the fact that you were doing something. Like if you're out, I want to go move to Thailand. Well, what you need to do is you need to do things that will allow you to move to Thailand, and the Thailand thing will work out.
Well, I think it's we're socially conditioned in schooling to like have a long lead time to prepare for something and then do it, because we go to school for all these years and learn bullshit, and then we finally do it, instead of just with entrepreneurism, it's sort of like the reverse of that, where you start and learn as you go along. So I think the apprenticeship did actually, when I did the butcher apprenticeship, did actually help me with that, because that's what that was. I just went out there and they were just like, all right, you're an apprentice, mince some meats, and you're mincing meat going, what the fuck am I mincing meat for? But then you slowly progress up the chain as you get more qualified, and you're not going to slice your fingers off, right? As you start to learn the tools, and then it's just same thing with SEO. It's like, just start with something, get some diggity links or some shit, throw it at it, learn what works, something will eventually work, and then just nip the shit that doesn't. So I've started hundreds of businesses, like, and but I don't, because I think people always focus on like, 9 out of 10 business bail. It's more like, I reckon it's a higher percentage than that. But if you're starting 10 a week, it doesn't fucking matter. Like by the end of the year, I started 3 others in the last year, but it's not like I like put all my eggs into them and like spend all my time on them. You just like learn how to market test, and you just keep market testing. And then I started CRO Guy, and it went from 0 to hero in like 2 seconds. So
tell us about CRO Guy, because you're referring to CRO. Tell us about that.
So what we do is, for instance, like, we get a website. Let's just say it's an Amazon affiliate website selling dog pillows, right? And on the front page, it's got a top 10 table of the best dog pillows, ranked from best to worst, and then it's got a small review on each of them. We then see what the users are doing right now. So, for instance, we'll install heat maps on it, which records the user interaction on the site. We'll see where they're clicking the most, and we'll start to test variations of how it looks, what text is used, what call to actions, which is like a button telling them to do something. And we just try a heap of combinations, and because we've done a ton now, we know what works, and we're usually within 3 or 4 or 5 trials of different variations of an area will have a 30 to 50% uptick in clicks over to Amazon.
Nice. That big?
Huge.
Nice.
And it's hard to believe, and a lot of the clients, when we see the report, and we've just changed a button to green, and we've just changed the call to action to click here to see it on Amazon or something or whatever, because it's purely site dependent. They'll see it and be, you just did that and you had the uptick. Well, yeah, that's how the process works. I think that's why a lot of people don't do it, is because they don't have the system set up, they don't have the reporting set up, and they don't have
the time and the knowledge of what to test.
They don't have the system set up. Yeah. Like all the information's out there. On my blog, I literally tell them how to do everything step by step. And I had a lot of guys come up to me during the Chiang Mai SEO conference this year, and they were saying, "Oh man, I love your content. I rolled out what you said," but then I was just like, because we have to get up in the morning, go to work and do our own job. So it's something that it's not that hard, but the management of it, well, it can be hard depending on the site. I'm using a very basic dog pillow site as an example, but there's much more complicated ones than that. But they forget why they've set up a test or what they've done in the past or why they've done it in the first place. So we log our hypothesis. We keep a log of all the tests we've done, so we don't do the test again. And we have, like I said, we've done work before on clients that are 1, 2, 3, 4 for the same keyword. So when we've done number 2 and then the number 1 guy comes at us for dog pillows. By the way, I'm not affiliated with dog pillows.
Yeah, go get in the dog pillow business. It's big. I
don't even know what a dog pillow fucking is, but. Yeah, if we've done the number 2 or 3 guy before and then number 1 comes at us, we already know what works. So then we can sell him on a deal better because we know what his increases are going to be. So but we still have to test because every site looks different. The consumer psychology is different. We still have to use the data. Even if we know something's going to increase it, we still test and run the test so we have that data. Because everyone wants a report saying you've increased by 30%. You don't just change it and go, here you go, we're done.
Sure.
Yeah, it's much more professional to have the actual data behind that of why you've made the changes, and then they can go and use that to work on their other sites in the future and stuff. So
nice. So with the services that you offer, because you're talking right now about sending to like affiliate sites in general, or to Amazon specifically in general, do you do a similar thing for, like, let's say somebody has like an e-commerce store where they're selling their own products in that e-commerce store? Mm-hmm. You provide this service for any type of site. It's not just people that are trying to send people to Amazon and things like that.
Yeah, it's e-commerce, affiliate, and lead gen. I mean, that's pretty much all sites anyway, but it's more the differentiating factor between us taking someone on and us not is traffic.
Okay.
So we need traffic. As we get bigger and bigger and we get bigger and bigger clients, we are putting more filters on who we take in, because the clients with the bigger traffic, the more visitors, 1,000 plus a day, we can run more tests and have a higher success ratio, because it comes down to just testing. We will always get an uptick, but the only reason we wouldn't get an uptick is because we've been working on a site for 3 months and we've just finished our first test, and no one wants to wait 3 months to get any result, right? We want everything tomorrow or yesterday or whatever. So it's, as we get higher and higher up the food chain and get more, now we're starting to get more awareness of our brand, the bigger companies are really starting to come in now, and that's why we started Convertico, like more of a corporate style business. The more traffic and then the more sales, so then they can compare the revenue numbers after that. So once we have traffic, and then e-commerce is the best for CRO because everything's tracked from end to end. So this visitor equals this much, this product equals this much, and it's much easier to track. Whereas an affiliate site, for an Amazon site, for instance, you do get the report of what you've sold, but it's not like tracked from end to end. You can't put a tracking pixel on the end of it and stuff like that. But we do work with some clients who we help, because I used to be at Leadspring, I used to be the head of buying and selling. So I used to also go to the affiliate networks that weren't Amazon, but they were like private affiliate deals, and negotiate better agreements, or negotiate agreements with better affiliate offers, because some might sell the same product, but one will give you a $30 payout and one will give you a $55 or $60 or $70 payout for the same exact thing. They're just copying more profit from the actual seller. So I do that too. If I know that there's a better offer out there, which a lot of the time there is, I see Amazon like someone who just sells everything, right? Right. But there's always someone who will sell not always, but a lot of the time there'll be someone who sells your bestseller and will give you better than a pissy 5% commission, because Amazon's still making profit off that, right? So you can probably get 10, 15, and when you're making $100,000 a year and you can get a double payout, or you go straight to the product that you're selling and just negotiate an agreement with them, or set up an affiliate platform to then do it too. So if it's big enough, we'll also help people do that too, where we help them to go to the product that they're selling. If they don't have an affiliate platform, we show them how to set that up, and then also sell them at a much, much, much higher commission rate.
Nice. So let's say somebody has an affiliate website they're putting together, an e-commerce store that they're putting together, and they are trying to get things to the point to where they would be able to work with you. What type of conversion tips do you have from things that you found from your experience that people can apply to their websites? I know that it varies per website and that it's a custom thing per website, but do you have any type of blanket information that seems to work on most of the sites that you tried on?
For some reason, and I think it's only because it's only been the last couple of years that mobiles have really gone crazy, is no one really puts a lot of focus on mobile interaction. So pull your website up in mobile and see how it looks. Have you put as much focus on the mobile version of the site as the desktop? 99% of people will say no.
Right.
Because it's just mobile traffic. People don't buy on mobile. Fuck, they
Yes,
do
they
buy on
do.
mobile. There's some niches we work in, 70% of all traffic is on mobile, but still, it's got a pissy little button. Like, for instance, on mobile, never use a text call to action. You got to try and, I've got fat ass fingers. I'm trying to like push that call to action. Do you think a nice big red button's going to work better? Of course, right? Just these little things. It's like understanding the psychology of the consumer on the different devices too. And the cool thing about, CSS and HTML5 these days is you can fully customize how anything looks on every screen size, let alone mobile desktop.
Yeah, you can.
So if you've got $1 million website that's doing $1 million of revenue a year, do you think it's worth getting someone who's knows how to convert and then give them 20K to like increase your sales by 20-30%? Of course. And that's why I love this business. It's not like I'm a snake oil salesman. It's like now it's like we choose who we work with. And that's why we have like a multi-tier pricing structure where in the tier 1, we get them in, we get to understand the personality of the website. We get to see how we interact with the owner of the website too. And then we put them on the tier 2s, putting them on that longer term if we can see not only if the owner's cool, but if we can get those longer term gains too. So as more time goes on, we have this bigger and bigger list growing of like cool ass business owners and awesome businesses that we're increasing the revenue on. So
and I bet that's good for your business, like for your peace of mind also, because a lot of people when they're starting out on the journey and they're offering any type of service, it's like I'll work with anybody that I can work with. Mm-hmm. But getting to the point to where you can actually pick and choose your clients is a fantastic thing for your mindset.
I just travel around the world and just like have all these awesome clients that I meet at, go to events and go out and party with them, go out to dinner with them, and it's just like it's like if I look back 10 years ago and I was lying in that hospital bed with my broken leg and my morphine line into my neck, and I was told that this was like what my life had turned out, man, I would just be like, it's like humbling, It's really cool.
Take us back, because I think I want to hear more about when you arrived here and you were like, there's 6 guys and us working in Chiang Mai. Talk to us about that start there when you got to Chiang Mai, because you at that point you've traveled, you've got somewhere, and now you're going to sit down. And you sit down because, the success of that group, and that just shows you, man, if you get with a group of people at the right place at the right time, and you just surround yourself with super smart people before it all happens. Like if people want to go show up and hang out with you now, it's a whole lot more difficult. But back then, you've got to surround yourself, and that's why going to places where entrepreneurs are very important. So talk to us about like getting here and that initial, like, when you're going to lunch over in Nimmin, you're meeting these guys, like how's that go down?
I guess it was like a difference in psychology. Like I said, I was in Budapest for a while around that time. I was just burnt out. I was like 25. I was starting to move out of that party phase, and then started to get into business, and then get here and meet. I just lived in Zurich for the last 3 months before this, and my girlfriend had an awesome job there, so we stayed there for 3 months. When you're in a city that you aren't surrounded by people with the same psychology, you start to like be alienated from society, and you start to introspect, like, is this the right thing I'm doing? I've already done 60 odd countries. I've lived all over the world, Canada, Europe every year, and literally everywhere, even Colombia. So I knew that. But like when I was in Zurich, we're only there for 3 months, but I started to be like, am I a scammer? What's going on here? Because no one's doing it. Anyone you talk to is like, I don't get it. So, because they're all working for banks, they're all corporate lawyers, in Zurich. So when I got to Chiang Mai, and I met even, 3 or 4 guys, one was a blogger, one was a drop shipper. Anton Crowley, people might know him. He wasn't here longer term, but he would pop in, now and then. Met a couple of other, fitness bloggers and stuff. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh my God, now I'm like surrounded by people doing the same thing. It's actually pretty cool. I'm not doing, and then everyone leapfrogged off everyone else because we all had complementary businesses. And then everyone was doing SEO in some way.
Right.
So then everyone was doing SEO, everyone was getting into PBNs right when PBNs were not saturated. Everyone's businesses just went like through the fucking roof. Yeah. And then everyone went from being these like, I'm extroverted, but most of them were introverted, more analytical types, like the biggest collection of INTJs at this conference the last few days. But went from that to these like super successful businessmen. We don't really talk about SEO and stuff anymore. Everyone's got teams and looking to make deals. And all of a sudden in a few years, it's gone from 0 to hero, which is awesome. So like you said, it's a little bit different now going around Nimmin, and I got my face on a lot of stuff. So a lot of people come up to me and have seen my stuff, and it's sort of weird for me still, because I still see myself I don't see myself superior to anyone. I'm super humble and most of the time, but it is a lot different now because there are a lot of snake oil salesmen out there too. I think a lot of people that are holding a lot of these events, while they are trying to give value, they're also trying to like not mislead, but I think a lot of it's misleading. A lot of people make it seem a lot easier than it is. When, at the end of the day, it's just like, you got to learn good, sound business principles, and everything else will come from that. But everyone wants to make money online, or everyone wants to find this little hack to make $1,000 a month and live in Thailand. But if they just read a few books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and The E-Myth, and a couple of these like really simple books that'll improve your psychology, their business, they'd get it. Instead of making it about them and making it about the customer and serving the marketplace, they'd have a lot higher success rate, because, man, I've seen thousands of people come into this town and then leave and go back home because they got...
But you know what? I love it when those people... I was in a thread the other day, and somebody was complaining about those people that come and fail, and I'm like, whatever, while you were sitting, and these are people not here, I'm like, well, you were sitting at home working at McDonald's for $10 an hour.
At least they gave it a go.
You know what? I went and gave it a go, and I'll guarantee that they learned more by being here than they could have ever learned in 5 years sitting in their closet. And those people are just inspiring to me, and I agree. I just think, but the worst case scenario is you show up here and you have 3 months in Thailand.
But it's the people exploiting it. It's not so much it's the people exploiting them without even realizing they're exploiting them. But it's more like, if those people had just known not to invest their time into one business and just keep going, and maybe just it doesn't take a lot of money to do business these days.
It doesn't.
What was my capital investment in Sierra Go? It was just time and learning. I didn't invest any money. I set up the website myself. I don't know. I did everything myself. But yeah, it was the intellectual property that is why it's going so well. But you don't have to invest a lot into buying products. And a lot of people you see starting these businesses where they've gone off to China and found these suppliers and then had to invest 10 grand, and you don't have to do that anymore. You can start very lean businesses, but it's just finding the people who are actually successful, which is hard because 90% of them don't put their face on anything. They're just working. They're just working on their business. They're not blogging about it. They're not making a course about it.
They're not trying to be superstars.
Well, most of the people who are making money from selling courses are making money from selling courses. They're not making money from business.
Listen, here's my thought process on that a lot is if you have time, if you're making multi-millions of dollars a year doing SEO, why wake up one morning and go, I'm going to write this down for everybody. I'm going to record all this stuff so I can make whatever money over here. You're going to focus on what you do.
And I'll be completely honest. In 2014, I had a guy that approached me and he wanted to make a course. He had a very popular blog, and we worked on the course. We didn't work that well together, but I like helping people. I mentor so many people because I get a lot of validation out of it. I had a passive income business for years. I got to do something, otherwise I'm just going to be at the bar every night. So I got to do something to give back, otherwise, and I get a lot of validation from it. So I started to do that. I started to get into it. but I didn't really feel good about it because I was making money from teaching. I didn't make a lot. I only made, didn't even make 5 figures out of it. It showed me what that industry is like, and I don't know. It's a funny psychology, man, because all the other people that I would meet that were doing well at it aren't really making any money off business. Maybe they did at some point, but they're making money purely off making money. And there are, for instance, Anton Crowley's awesome. He's the dropship lifestyle guy, and he's the most legit businessman I've ever met, and he knows his numbers, and he's not one of those, but a lot of them are. There are a lot of people who that's purely what they do. I'm not pointing my finger at anyone.
Sure.
I'm not.
So by putting that warning out there, how do you suggest that people identify people that are taking that road? So, because, from where you are, you can see that and you can identify that because you have that experience. But for somebody that is like just getting started and they're trying to figure out, hey, who should I follow? What info or what information should I consume?
That is a good question, because I'm at the other end of the scale where I've been in it for a long time and I'm seeing it from a different perspective.
Down.
Yeah, I'm nowhere at the top, nowhere near the top. There's still a long way to go, but...
I mean, those little girls downstairs with the signs outside, Kurt, what's the deal?
Jesus.
Yeah, we had to call the cops and run the girls away from out front.
I think you have to first understand a little bit of business, and then you can pick it pretty quickly. So reading books, like I said, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The E-Myth, even Sapiens. I mean, that book is just like, I just love the theory and if you understand the world a bit better, you can understand the world a bit better. But I think it's just time. Just give it a little bit of time. Move out to Chiang Mai, move out to Ho Chi Minh, move out to Colombia, Medellin. Medellin's a bit more higher end actually, so that might not be a good first one. Budapest is good during summer, there's a big community. Portugal, Lisbon is starting to turn into a bit of a spot. And just go to events and feel it out. Don't rush into anything. And you can usually, apply some stuff and see how you like it. Don't just be a blogger. I think everybody wants to come out here and sit on a beach and be a blogger. If you're going to be a blogger, the blog should only be used to give value, to make more awareness for your product or service you're selling, right, not as a means to itself, right? I think a lot of people get misinterpreted that way, where it's like I make a shit out of, I make nearly 70-80% off my blog, but it's purely showing case studies of my service and what we've done, right? It's not just blogging about 10 tips for Chiang Mai or whatever.
Right.
I think there's a bit of a misinterpretation there, but I know this is a bit confusing because I used to hear it at the start and not really get it, but how you got to provide value. Like once you provide value, whether it's helping someone out, whether it's opening a food stall stand to feed people, that's how our marketplace is set up. We're in a capitalist society, and it's got such a negative connotation saying capitalist, but we wouldn't have innovation and we wouldn't live the quality of life if we didn't have that structure set up right now. They've tried a bunch of others, they didn't work. This works. Sure, there's a lot of problems with it, but nearly everyone, even at the bottom of the food chain, still lives a much better lifestyle than 50, 60 years ago, even at the bottom. But in proportion, everyone looks at, but they're doing better. But if you still look at the quality of the person at the bottom of the food chain, they're still getting up in the morning, not going out, having to have a spear to protect their wife from getting stolen, and maybe it's not 50 years ago, maybe a couple of hundred. But
hey, I think one of the things that I see we talking about a lot is it's more that global thought process that you're not. So it's not just a blog. There's I think when you're starting that, you don't have that mission, where the money's going to come from a lot of times with the blog. So having an idea that you're going to sell multiple products that you may even, I always think, why are we not taking a product that you're selling and crushing it as an affiliate? Why don't you figure out how to get that product yourself? And add those
We've
different...
done that before in the past
right,
too. We've done it before. We've found a product that was selling. It wasn't Amazon, but we found a product that was selling. We then created the product, made it way better than the one that was selling, sold it for way more, 3 or 4 times more, and then we got a way bigger affiliate deal off that. It's just, and then you're fully in control with everything end to end. But you have to start with another affiliate partner. It's a market test, and this is what I mean by let the market will respond, right? And it might be the 10th, 15th, 20th time you start a business, but with places like Empire Flippers now, you can enter the market for 20, 30 grand for a site that's paying you $1,000 a month. Where else can you do that? You're going to need 100, 150 to get that from rental income, so, or even more, 200 grand to make $1,000 a month. So it's sell some shit, go buy an Empire Flippers site, have $1,000 a month of income, come move out to Chiang Mai, go to start surround yourself by actually don't do that. Don't move out to Chiang Mai. It's going to be a swamp. Move out to somewhere where there's people. I mean, it depends. Not a lot of people can live in Asia, you know.
Yeah, it's a completely different
go
place,
move somewhere where the people are that are doing it, not the people that
are trying to do it.
That are trying to do it, I guess. I mean, that's, yeah, but again, you can't really, like, when you don't know what to look for, you don't know what to look for.
Yeah.
But just start to do something.
You know, and if you can't, let's assume it's your house and you can't. I can tell you this, get involved online in other groups. I mean, there's a lot. I have friends that I have never met, ever, and I would consider them like some of my best friends in the world. And I've only had Skype conversations with them a lot, but, you know.
That just happened at the Chiang Mai SEO conference. Was just having people come up to me constantly. Every time I was alone, I'd have someone come up and be like, "Hey man, I've been following you for years." And I was like, "Oh man, what the hell?" I've been chatting. I remember back in 2014 when I met you and we were like doing this little test together and trying this. And it's just like this cool online community out there. That's for sure.
So if you're what you see is with you guys, if you just keep digging in the same place and you keep doing it, you will move forward. You'll get enough information and you will become successful. But the only reason that's there is because you failed.
And you don't, well, I didn't do some course. I didn't do some ebook. I just used the market to learn. So the market will tell me what's right or wrong. The hardest thing though, we're socially conditioned to see feedback as a negative thing, negative feedback as a negative thing. But it's, if you flip that round and something doesn't work, then you know what doesn't work. So then you keep going. And I sound like a self-help book right now, but that's exactly what it is. It's like, you're using the marketplace as feedback. But it hurts at the start because especially if you're like a masculine male and you want to always be right and you want to charge ahead and always keep up your appearance, you're not going to be successful at that. And I know that because that's what I was. I was thinking I was the shit, but I wasn't. I was making shit all money and it was like a front, right? Which a lot of people do. So once you can learn to let that ego subside, be a bit more humble, keep your mouth shut when you're around people, even if you don't feel like they're better than you, like they're like higher up the chain than you, which is again comes down to ego. If you think you're not going to listen, you're just going to talk, and you meet people like that all the time. They just end up talking and they already know it all, but they don't know it all because otherwise they wouldn't be there trying to learn.
Right.
So yeah, just become more humble and just like listen to the market, learn off people, provide some value somewhere where you can meet those people. Help out in the community, do some shit, be in those spaces that those people are, and then...
Ferris has a whole
podcast.
Awesome. He talks about that
awesome.
and how if you want to get connected, go join. You know, I think he talks about the podcast already. He was talking about joining this group that was a volunteer group, and to specifically look in his niche, and then he would go out, to go out into that a volunteer agency. He said that most volunteer agencies don't have people that will help out. So if you go there, you can immediately start opening yourself up, and then next thing you know, you're playing golf.
Doing an apprenticeship.
Doing
an apprenticeship. So back in 2009, 2010, I met this Filipino guy on Odesk, back when it was Odesk, and I hired him. He was just a boss. He would just like crush it all day long. Fast forward 8 years later, he's one of my best mates. He lives out in Chiang Mai, and he's fucking killing it. Like, he's absolutely killing it. He's just like the head of he moved to a different company because I saw more opportunity for him. So he ended up going to a different company that I sold out of, and he went with them. But he's got way more opportunity with them, and he just kills it. But he just kept at it. He said what he did. He was like good at what he did. He said what he was going to do, and he followed through with it. I've just hired a guy out of Chennai now, who's like my head apprentice now. I just flew him out here for the conference. First time he's been to Dubai before, but the first time he's been out of like that region. He was just around all his idols the last few days.
I can't even imagine where that guy goes back and forth.
He was like hanging out with Charles Float, Matt Diggity, Darryl Rosser, and me the whole conference. He's just like, because he applied for an apprenticeship, takes a shit pay for a while, learns the system in and out. Now he like runs the whole business. Or he's like the head of a whole department now, running the whole thing. So apprenticeships, while they might hurt the ego a lot at the start because you're getting told, like a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, man, I had 3 or 4 people apply for that apprenticeship and leave after a week because it's not that there's so much that the work's hard, but especially if they're a more extroverted like male that wants to like lead a team and they're coming in to like work, and then I'm like, dude, can you do this? I'm a super cool boss and you can like do whatever the fuck you want, but you need to get done.
The shit done.
But then after a week, they're like, nah, I'm not doing this. And then, the ship sails. But Yeah, man, apprenticeships are awesome. Like, and
Well,
I love bringing people out of I love these people bringing these people out of third world countries,
Right, because it
and then,
changes
like,
everything for them.
And then they just get,
and they're so much more hungry sometimes.
and they just get exposure to these markets then, and then boom, they just go from zero to hero, you know. So it's really cool.
Fantastic.
Every online entrepreneur has digital tools that contribute to their success. What's in your digital toolbox?
All right, Kurt, so this is the time of the show where we kind of get into our segment, which helps people, we think, probably the most, and it's called our digital toolbox. And so what we'd like you to share with us is some of the things that you're doing in your business where you're getting inspiration from, or blogs, or tools that you use, anything that you use that kind of helps you in your business, some things that maybe even keep you organized, but anything that's a digital tool. Why don't you go ahead and share what's in your digital toolbox?
Yeah, sure. So one thing when people are asking me what they should do first when they've got a blog or they've got a site, whether it's affiliate or e-commerce, and they want to get started, they always want me to be like, make a button that says this, that's this color. But it's not as easy as that, right? You have to, each site has its own personality, each site has its own type of users that have a different intention of where they want to go. So what I say is go over to hotjar.com, which is a heat maps tool. That's just the one I like best. There's a bunch of different ones. There's heat maps for WordPress, which is a free one. There's VWO has one built in. There's Lucky Orange. There's Crazy Egg. There's a bunch. I like Hotjar. That's its only job. They're really good at what they do. Install that on your 5 highest traffic pages. Run heat maps for a week or two until you've got 500, 600 views and you've got enough and then start to look for areas of your website, of your pages, that have 80% of the user interaction. So Pareto principle says that 20% of the areas on your website will have 80% of the interaction. Now, if you know what that 20% is, it's very easy to get started then. If you keep doubling down on that 20% of areas, there's only going to be 1 or 2 or 3 areas on a page that you need to do anything with. So does it seem so hard then if there's like just a few spots?
Right.
Because people see a page, especially if they've got 1,000 pages and they've got, 20 different products on each page, then there's a bunch of variables. But if you simplify that, now we do the top 5 pages just because 80% of sales come from usually 5 pages on a site. And I see this across hundreds of niches. And it's usually, maybe sometimes up to 10 on bigger sites, but even if you double that down again, there's 3 or 4 pages out of that make all the sales. So yeah, do the 80-20 of all the pages, which is usually the top 5. Do the 80-20 of each page then, of those top 5. So just get your top 5, chuck them into Hotjar, see where those hotspot areas are, where most people are clicking. And most of the time it's above the fold, but you're starting to have a clear idea now of where to start to focus. And then start running some tests. So then go over to, now there's 3 different options, and a lot of people come up to me and ask me, what's better, VWO, Optimizely, or Google Optimize? They're all exactly the same thing. They're just a tool, right? They're not like one's gonna get you bigger gains or one's gonna get you worse gains. Go and use them all. So that's Optimizely, VWO, or Google Optimize. A lot of people like Google Optimize because it's free. I don't really know. I haven't played around too much with it. But we use VWO a lot, and I have spent a lot of time with Optimizely. But VWO I think is good for people that have a few sites, want to manage them all. The user interface is awesome, so you can it's very easy to pull a site in. It's almost seems too easy once you actually do it. So go chuck your site through there after you've done some Hotjar tests, and then start to test those high areas. Test some buttons, test some different call to actions. Let the test run until it's concluded. I think that's what a lot of people don't do. They'll wake up one morning and go, oh my God, it's up 600%. But that was that one day. Some day, as we know, some days have 80% of sales for the week. So you need to let the statistical significance run for long enough where it's going to be highly likely that number is pretty accurate. So the longer you let it run, the longer it'll reduce that spread of what the increase will be. And then once it's come up with a decision, and this is me simplifying it all a lot, obviously, but then once you've got that, then you know what the winner is, and just split test one thing at a time.
What kind of time span would you recommend?
It purely comes down to traffic.
Okay.
So if you have a site that's doing 1,000 views a day, and you chuck, you test one call to action button. Let's just say you've got an opt-in in the header. That's a good example, actually. Just a simple opt-in. Test the button that they click. So whether it says sign up now or get free shit or
whatever,
let's go, like the first test you run, try very different variations, and you'll get a very clear indication. The more different it is, if it's going to be a positive difference, you'll get a conclusion quicker and you'll get a bigger uptick. So if it's just sign up, which is, the generic, or it's like get free dog info, the get free dog info is going to be more specific than just sign up, which we see everywhere. So we don't really register it so much, and then let it run. And then, on a basic level, that's pretty much how it works. But the thing is, I think people go in and change 3 or 4 things on the page. This might make it go up 30. This might make it go down 10. This might make it go up 60. And then over the end, it's gone up 10%. You're still like, yes, it's gone up 10%. But if you just changed that, it would have gone up 60%. So it's just keep it simple. The thing is, we all want something tomorrow. This shit takes a while. Some tests take 2 months for one test. And I think that is one of the reasons why we're so consistent with our increases is we don't emotionally get involved with it. We don't call it early or if it's, I know that because I've done this before where I've let a test run for 3 days. I've done, on my Audi, I used to sell car parts in Australia, and I tested add to cart versus buy now, which is the most common. And, after 4 or 5 days, buy now's up 30%. My mind starts going, well, if that's up 30%, that means it's an extra $3,000 a month. Extra $3,000 a month means I can live in a sick villa. Oh my God. And you start having these emotional connections to shit, and you're getting emotionally invested with the psychology behind it all. But if you just let it run and not looked at it and just checked it when the conclusion to run, then you would have just relied on the data. But that's the hardest thing is just letting it run, especially if it's going to be for a month or 6 weeks, 8 weeks that the test needs to run.
And I guess that's where a service like yours comes in even more handy because basically when somebody hires you, that removes that emotional connection that they may have
at all.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. And we have the team that sets all I do a lot of the strategy if we haven't done one of these sites before. But a lot of the guys just run it from end to end, and they know they can't call it. It's not part of the SOP to call it when it hasn't concluded yet. So we have to just rely on the data, and that's exactly why. Because if you've got a mum and pop store and you're doing landscaping or something, and you see the money coming in, it's just you're too much in it where you can't just rely on the data. It's like share trading or whatever. You can't, that's your income. If it goes down here, then you're like, oh my God, I've lost all my Bitcoin money. Then if it goes up, you're like, yes, you're euphoric from it. You're riding the wave. But most, a lot of the share trading investment firms, actually that's not entirely true. They're all sharks. I was going to say that's why a lot of them get success. But you know what I mean. You're not emotionally invested, and you can just push a button, yes and no, then to the conclusion to the updates. But
I think the biggest thing, just even being here this week and listening to you, Matt, and listening to Charles, and listening to you guys is, it's all one thing, man. It's all testing. Mm-hmm. It's like get a plan and do it, and consistently do it, and you'll improve. Mm-hmm. I mean, like that. I mean, I saw Matt 2 weeks ago speak, and I mean that was the entire thing. He was talking about building 10 whites and 10 websites and testing. And for what happens is, I think for new guys, that's scary to them. That's
especially if they've invested their own brand into it. Yeah, right. Of course. But it's all a journey, You can't, whether you're 18, there was a couple of guys there that were doing, 7 figures a year that are like 18, 19. And there's a couple of guys, I remember there was one guy that got up and came to talk to me. He's like 75, asking about when he should start split testing up the front. It's just like, there is no, we were at dinner the other night and I think my girlfriend said to me, she was like, this is crazy in the SEO industry. There's no age. Like, my business mentor is 57 or 58, and then we've got Charles who's 21. We've got Matt who's he's 36 or 37. I'm 32, and it's just that there's no consistency to the age because it has nothing to do with your experience. I mean, experience in terms of maybe understanding yourself from an emotional perspective, but if you just apply it, whether you're 18, I think Daryl's 22 or 23. It's the more the psychology than the actual experience over time. You don't have to have a lot of money to be able to do this. You just have to have a system. You have to know how to market test. You have to know how to do market analysis and shit like that. So back to the tools, that's about it to get started, because there's a lot of stuff in it that you'll start to realize when you do set them up with the tracking and watching it. But I just want to keep it simple at the start, because I go into a lot of advanced stuff when I test, but that's because we already have the systems in place. I don't have to do it anymore. So then we can start going into setting up complex.
But if I'm a guy who just bought my first $10,000 site or $20,000, I'm doing $1,000 a month. So I've got a $25,000 site. I bought it doing $1,000 a month. Is that the first? Because I may not be able to call you because I don't have enough income for you to do that. So that's the place where that guy should start.
And then there's your fundamentals. Like I see it all the time. Are all your links working? Are all the products you're reviewing on Amazon, are they all still in stock? Because when most people are affiliate, they're on the beach, they're partying, they got the coconuts, they're partying, whatever. And they just don't even check it up because it's passive income. I'm making $2,000 a month on passive income. Everyone loves to say that. But why has your income taken a dip? I had a couple of clients that after we rolled out our service, their sites took a little bit of a dip after having a nice pickup afterwards. And it was just, I looked at a few of the products. They were sold out because they'd sold all their products because their site was doing so well, but they hadn't followed up to see, they didn't have like their assistant checking the products or whatever, or setting up a system to be able to keep on top of that. And all it takes is for you to flip it out with another product. But just little things like that of the management of it all happens. Like, are the products you're sending them to, are they really the best? Because what an interesting one is too is when we run heat maps a lot of the time, the number 5 one in the table might get more clicks because it's the one that the people want to buy. Maybe you've got the one at number 1 just because it's got a higher payout, which happens a lot, right? Because they're only focused on themselves. So you might sell 2 of that one if it was at number 1, and all these little tricks like that.
The last thing we end with the toolbox is do you have any morning rituals or things that you do when you get up in the morning? This is what I do every day. This is how I do it. So tell us your morning rituals.
I'm super systematical. I've had some ex-girlfriends say to me, "You've taken life out of life," because I'm like extremely routine. Not at the moment, because when you're traveling, that goes out the window. I'm just starting to get back into it now, but with the conference and everything, man, it's been a mess. But so what I do is when I wake up, I will leave my phone on airplane mode, and I've fallen out of habit a little bit of this lately just because it's been so busy. But I'll leave my plane on airplane mode. I'll go grab my bike and I'll fucking ride. The worst thing you can do, and I just know this because how do I feel at the end of a day when I feel awesome and I've got shitloads done and I've been calm, is when I didn't check my phone when I got up. It just like jacks you up and you feel like everything's urgent and nothing's organized. So I just like jump on my bike, I'll go ride 30 Ks just around Chiang Mai or wherever I am, and then I'll get home, shower, I just meditate 5-10 minutes with the Calm app, or mindfulness. It's not really meditation, and then I'll head off to the coffee shop and work. I'll write in. I've got like the 5-minute journal. I'll write in that journal at some point, and if I do that, my days are not only infinitely more productive, I'm way calmer, I'm way nicer and chill because I got no anxiety, I'm way more relaxed, and that's it. Like that's and then I'll go to the gym at some point during the day. Well, yeah, like I said, I've been doing that the last few days, but that is my process for an awesome day, and that's it. Just those 3 or 4 things.
Because it doesn't have to be complex; it can just be very simple. I mean,
I did it this morning, and I feel like I've had the best day so far, as well as it being an awesome day and having all my friends in town. But still, yeah,
life's pretty good now.
It is, man. It's really going well, but it's not always like this. At the start of the year, I went through a really big slump and was at the bottom of psychologically. I was still doing well, but like money is never a relation of how happy you are. So,
ever. Yeah. So definitely realize that. Hey, thank you so much for sharing all this great knowledge.
I appreciate it. It's all for the greater good.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you for coming on. If people want to find out more about you, they want to connect with you, they want to work with you, how do they get in touch with you?
CROguy.com. I put up a new blog post every month and give away a heap of information. Add us on Facebook on the CRO Guy page, Facebook.com/CRO Guy. And look forward to getting in contact with anyone. I just love CRO, man. It's all database, and I love consistency, and I love being around people who are interested in it too.
Fantastic.
Nice.
You've been listening to the Digital Journey Podcast, navigating through your online business voyage. We'll see you next week. If you've not listened to our previous podcast, you can check them out on our website at digitaljourneypodcast.com.
We also encourage you to give us some feedback, so leave us a review or send us a message. And if you have a great story that you want to share, you can reach out to Rob at gorillasonline.com, or you can reach me at nicknimmin.com. And if you're interested in searching for an online business or selling your business, make sure that you check out empireflippers.com. Each week, Justin, who's one of the partners over there, he sends out an email. In those emails, there's usually 6 to 10 new businesses that are for sale over at Empire Flippers. So opportunity is waiting for you at empireflippers.com.
Each week, we try to leave everybody with a little bit of inspiration stuff. So I found something I think that'll be appropriate to what we had kind of talked about today. Some entrepreneurs think, how can I make a lot of money? But the better way is to think, how can I make people's lives a lot better? If you get it right, the money will come. That's Richard Branson. So he gets it. So you talked about value. So go out and add some value to somebody's life.
That's probably a better way to put it than just saying, because people will hear value and it like numb over, right?
Yeah,
but that's exactly it.
Yeah, go out and figure out how to make someone's life better. I promise you'll make money. Yeah, that's exactly it.
And
hey,
there you go. Yeah.
Hey, thanks. Have a great week. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Peace.
You're listening to the Digital Journey Podcast. The Digital Journey is brought to you by Empire Flippers, the largest marketplace for selling and purchasing online businesses. EmpireFlippers.com.